Good morning, everyone. This is Scott Tutzlow. I'm a financial services professional with Aspire Wealth Planners in Newark, Delaware. Uh, just a little bit very quickly about myself. I've been in the business 24 years, helping clients with their insurance, investment, financial planning needs. And obviously, with everything going on in our world with COVID-19, we are doing a series of educational sessions with professionals out there who are in different lines of business and working with individuals and obviously with employers. And very fortunate to be joined today by Katherine Witherspoon Fry, who is an attorney with Offit Kurman. She's going to tell you a little bit, obviously, about herself and her firm, but this is the first of actually three of these we have scheduled right now that Katherine and I are going to do. The idea is we want to keep these short, give you some good content. At the end of the presentation, her contact information and mine will be available. I would highly encourage you, if you have any questions about anything that Katherine presents today, that you please reach out to her. She does an outstanding job for her clients. She's got a wealth of knowledge and experience and expertise in what she's going to be talking about. So please take advantage of utilizing her and her firm. So with that, Katherine, I want to thank you for joining us, and I am turning it all over to you.
You're welcome, Scott. Thank you for having me. I am a partner at Offit Kurman. We're a law firm of 275 attorneys from New York to North Carolina. I happen to be sitting in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm a Delaware attorney, and I have been practicing 25 years in the area of employment law. So when all of this new employment litigation came down, legislation came down, we were very much all ears and prepared to meet the challenges of this bright new day. And hopefully we can answer questions in the three videos that we are going to present. Today we're going to start with a video that we've called Navigating the New Coronavirus Laws. And we're first going to talk about the sick leave provisions.
Okay.
So just 1 second, I'm going to share my screen. Then you can see my presentation. Great, so as I said, it's called Navigating the Coronavirus Laws. And so just on March 18th, the Families First Coronavirus Response Act, which sometimes I'll call the FFCRA, was signed into law. It took effect April 1st. And these laws are going to impact an estimated 61 million employees. Basically, this law enables employers to provide paid leave to employees. And the idea is to prevent further spread of COVID-19 in the workplace and to prevent a loss of income, obviously. So my first recommendation in approaching all of this subject matter is to be proactive. You need to learn the law's requirements and benefits. If you have a good HR person, they need to be studying this. I literally spent 6 hours reading the regulations on these laws. And I'm a lawyer, so it's kind of complicated. And anybody has a quick question, pick up the phone. I'm happy to talk to you about it. You don't want to do it the wrong way and become liable to employees for failure to grant leave or neglect to do paperwork which would allow you to take tax credits for paying for these leaves provided under this legislation. So use the information from the law and this presentation to make a plan minimizing the exposure of your clients and your people to COVID-19 and to maintain productivity. I personally create COVID-19 policies for the workplace to ensure those things, ensure your compliance with this act and other acts which have now been passed, and to make sure you're all healthy. As I said, the money spent for the leaves is allowable as a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. It's very important to document the expenses. It's very important to get the right documentation, which would include the reason for the leave, which could be doctor's orders, it could be a government order to quarantine, it could be things regarding the person that you need to care for. There are a lot of different reasons to take leave, and you want to make sure that if you're the employer, you keep the documentation on the leaves so that you can get your tax credits. So the first type of leave that the new law provides is sick leave. It's the Emergency Paid Sick Leave Act. And the FFCRA requires employers of up to 500 employees to provide 2 weeks of paid leave. If the worker is not able to report to work or even to telework, they can't even work at home. These are the reasons, some of the reasons, to seek treatment for COVID-19 and to recover. So waiting for a diagnosis, actually suffering from the illness, or when ordered to do so by the executive, by a doctor, probably not the federal government at this point, probably just the executive order of the state government. The order to self-quarantine due to your exposure to COVID-19. Another reason you can get it is to care for someone whom the employee would be expected to tend when they're ill, or if that person was ordered to quarantine. So, for example, your employee comes in and says, well, I want to take care of my elderly neighbor. I feel so sorry for her. She has no one. That's a little iffy, because would this person be in that kind of a dependent relationship? Really, the law was intended to deal with people whom the employee would be ordinarily required to attend. So their elderly parent who lives with them, their spouse, their children, their foster children, that kind of thing. And then the last reason to get sick leave, paid sick leave, would be to care for their children whose schools or daycares are closed, or who aren't able to care for themselves due to disability, at 2/3 of their regular pay. So the other types of sick leave are full pay, 80 hours. There is a cap, $510 per day, and it covers all employees, full-time, part-time, anyone employed as of the date of this act being passed. Includes those who are jointly employed by another employer, such as temps. So, question mark whether people are employing a lot of temps these days, but if you did have a joint employer situation, then you would still have to cover your temps as well. There are exemptions for healthcare workers and first responders. Healthcare workers has been very, very broadly defined in the regulations. It includes anyone who works almost in any relationship to medical care. It's extremely broad. For instance, it applies to the suppliers, to hospitals. It applies to people who do home health care provision. It's not just for doctors, it's not just for nurses, people working in hospital settings. It's very, very broadly inclusive. It's drug testing facilities, all kinds of things. So, and then first responders is pretty much self-explanatory. We think we know who that is. That's what you would expect. So the second type of leave under this FFCRA is also available when employees are unable to work or telework, work from home. And that is 12 weeks of leave at 2/3 of their regular pay to care for the children. Same provision as the sick leave, but this is going to give you 10 additional weeks to care for children who are out of school, who do not have daycare because of COVID-19. And it's for those who've been employed for 30 days or who were let go and rehired. That's kind of a generalization, but again, specific questions, please call me, no problem. The pay is capped at $200 a day. I had an interesting question already from an employer who said, gee, this guy says that he can't work his part-time job because his custody arrangement has changed and he won't have daycare and he wants to not work his night shift. And I thought, on several levels, that's interesting. But really, it comes down to the fact that the person did not have a change in care arrangements because of COVID-19. There was a difference in the court order. So that's not gonna do it. It's got to be something related to COVID-19. So the employee may choose to use their full pay PTO for the first 2 weeks, or to receive 2/3 pay for those weeks, and the employer can't make the decision. It's up to the employee to make the decision. That leave is also available to be used intermittently if the employer and the employee agree. So for instance, so-and-so has a first responder husband who now has been called to work 3 full days a week when he would ordinarily have been able to care for the children. So wife mother says, I now need to take time off 3 days a week to watch my kids. That's fine. If she and the employer agree, then she can take 3 days off a week, and then it all adds up to 12 weeks in the end. And that's fine. But as long as you agree with your employer and employee. Sick leave cannot be done that way. It's just for the child care leave. It's usually not available to both parents simultaneously, which makes sense. So there's going to be, I have a form. People can contact me to get the form that indicates that, you need it, why you need it, who's getting it, purposes, length of time. It's a very helpful form. And again, as I said, it's not applicable if the reason isn't related to COVID-19. It's not about custody orders. It's not about that. And then another client asked me about, well, this woman says she can't work from home, but, we're giving her everything so that she should be able to work at home. Do we have to take her at her word? And I said, if she certifies in writing using my form that she can't work, then she can't work, and you're going to have to take her at her word. That is what it is. I said you could make think flexible with this. Think flexible accommodations. Think, well, how about she works half the day? How about she works 2 hours before her kids get up, 2 hours after her kids go to bed? She works only when the kids are napping. There are ways to work around it. So we do need to be flexible, and the law is all about that. A note with this too is that if the employee's already used FMLA leave during the previous 12 months, those weeks can be subtracted from the 12 weeks that this law provides. So other considerations, the employees must be kept on benefits plans during all the leaves. You can't have them pay their portion of premiums. You need to take a tax credit for the amount paid for the leave, and keep really good records, the reason for the leave. Again, all that's covered on my form. Any questions, let me know. The credit is only available for the weeks mandated by the law. So if you want to be a nice guy and give more than the law provides, which is great, that's fine, you're not going to get tax credit for those leaves. That's the only problem with that. There are other benefits that the Paycheck Protection Program can get you paid for those. You can use the funds from the Paycheck Protection Program loan to cover sick leave pay. The law forbids employers from retaliation, which would include firing, failing to rehire, cutting hours, taking other disciplinary actions. You cannot retaliate because someone asks for leave or takes leave. And that's going to be a big source of litigation. People are going to be let go because of economic problems, downturns. This is what I'm predicting. And they're going to come back and say, you retaliated against me because I asked for leave, and when they're not called back after leave. This is going to be a big one. Anticipating a lot of litigation over this in 2021. And be aware when you give people leave or don't give people leave or lay people off in general that there is such a thing as a disparate impact claim. Don't lay off all your white people and keep your black people. Don't lay off all your women and keep your men. Don't lay off your gay employees and keep your straight employees. You need to be cognizant of that. Otherwise, it is in your purview as an employer to decide who doesn't come back to work, who stays out of work, who's furloughed, who's laid off. But be careful about who you're going to do that with. There are other types of leave available if you're an employer of over 50 employees and you otherwise would be giving FMLA leave. So FMLA leave is to care for family members or themselves. That would be normal FMLA leave, which is unpaid up to 12 weeks, and you hold the person's job, basically. Short-term disability is also a possibility if it's, again, the person's own illness. Some states provide unpaid leave, unpaid or paid sick leave. New York, New Jersey, and Maryland all have paid sick leave. And then you can also just give other unpaid sick leave and continue to provide for the person's healthcare benefits, which will keep them, going during this difficult time. So exemptions, businesses with over 500 employees don't have to comply. Healthcare providers and emergency responders, as I said, and businesses with under 50 employees may be exempted from providing the leave on a case-by-case basis. It's a very strict standard, though, that letting someone take the leave has to jeopardize the viability of the business. So each time the employer goes through the analysis, they have to say, this particular person, if I let them leave, take this leave, would jeopardize the viability of my business. It's a hard standard to meet. This is really tough on our smaller employers. It really is, because you're expected to give a lot of leave to a lot of people, and perhaps you only have 6 employees. It's tough. And that same exemption, though, is available to the mandate to provide 2 weeks of paid leave to watch your son or daughter who's out of school. It is interesting. So know the statutes, consult your legal counsel as you need for these kind of sticky, strange situations. You need workplace policies to limit the spread of the disease, prevent your public relations disasters when your place of employment becomes the place that is full of COVID-19, and it has to be shut down by the governor. Need to set policies for return to work, publish those leave guidelines, set policies for sanitization and safe working conditions, and you finally, importantly, have the employees acknowledge the receipt, which can help to limit the employer's liability for these problems. So again, if you have any problems, any questions, please pick up the phone. Always free to talk. Katherine Fry, nice to talk to you today.
All right, Katherine, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Like I said, I think that there are just obviously so many different things, and that's why we're doing this, because you mentioned short-term disability. I just did a meeting with with a gentleman you and I both know well, Mike Bushler from the Williams Agency, and that was our topic, was really understanding what you have, and then kind of when we get on the other side of the pandemic, the importance of understanding not only what you have, but especially from a disability, the short and long-term disability, because there's so much we don't know about this disease yet. It's only 4 months old, and obviously things that we've heard about, we know it's a respiratory disease, but folks that have had problems with it attacking their heart or gastrointestinal, or just heard yesterday, I believe it was, that a lot of folks ended up on dialysis that were in the hospital for extended periods of time on ventilators, and talked to someone today who someone they know very well who had some liver function issues while they were in the hospital. So there's so much we don't know, and what happens if again there's a second wave of this. So as we kind of get on the other side of the curve, as everybody's hearing, and we start to slowly get back to work, these things that you're discussing are so important, because the work environment that we're going to go back to is going to be different than the one we left when we were told we had to stay and work at home. So I just really appreciate you taking your time and sharing this. And like I said, this is the first of 3. There's some interesting topics out there that again that both employees and the employers need to know. And as I said at the top of this, I think it's really important that that if folks have any questions, they reach out to you directly. And as I said, obviously the website is there. You can call Katherine directly. You can email her. And I think my contact information is on a slide as well. If folks want to get a hold of me, there's my name and my contact. I'm working from home, so I just put in my cell phone number. You can feel free to just to call me. It's the easiest way, and I'll call you back, and if you don't get me, and we'll go from there. But again, Katherine, I really want to thank you for your time, and I'm going to be looking forward to talking to you again real soon as we continue with our series of these webinar meetings. So again, thank you so much for your time this morning.